He simply didn't exist, and he viewed them the same. There were no other children, no contact with relatives, except an uncle or something. Terry was never sure of the relationship to his parents, out in Oregon. Terry had met him once, back when he was 6 or 7, and the uncle, named Lauren, seemed like a nice guy. He had given Terry $5 and told him to buy candy. Other than that, nothing. Nobody. His parents both worked at jobs, his father as a mechanic at a car dealership, his mother as a beautician, and were gone during weekdays. On weekends, his father would leave at sunup to go four-wheeling with his friends, and his mother would hit the malls and shop, or something. Terry was never quite sure of that either, since she never seemed to bring anything home. Terry was left to himself. He worked at school some, but mostly had poor grades, kind of slithered by. He'd had a best friend named Thor, but Thor's family had moved just a month before to, of all places, Africa, where Thor's father was going to be a missionary. And so Terry was alone. He didn't honestly know his parents were gone for nearly 2 days. He woke up one Monday morning to a quiet house. His parents had spent the whole previous night yelling at each other, and the quiet was pleasant, and went about his day as usual, figuring his parents had gone to work. Breakfast that first morning was normal, sugar-coated cereal with milk and more sugar sprinkled on it. There was no bread, so he couldn't do toast and peanut butter, which he loved, but the cereal filled him, so it didn't matter. Through the day he worked at mowing lawns in a nearby housing development. He loved working with motors and mechanical devices. He sometimes thought it was the only thing he got from his father, and had rebuilt an old rotary lawnmower that he used for cutting grass. The business had started small, but had grown, and he had saved almost $1,300 over the last 2 years, which he kept in a jar in his room. Terry worked all day, and when it was evening he pushed the mower home to find his parents still not there. Again, this did not surprise him. They were often late, and sometimes his father did not come home at all. They lived in a rented old 2-story house on the edge of an open field at the end of a road near a housing development, and all of it seemed about to break down and die. The house was in need of paint and repair. The street coming from the development was full of potholes and cracks, and the land around was overgrown with weeds and brush. When he got home, Terry put the mower in the garage, went into the house, and turned the TV set on to some rerun of a rerun about kids in the 60s who all wore bell-bottom pants and long-collared shirts. He didn't much like television. It bored him, except for the music videos and some movies. But he kept it on all the time he was in the house because he needed the sound. He'd read something in school about certain people needing background sound like running water or surf or wind in trees. They called it white sound, and he thought of television that way. Pretty much worthless except as white sound. He found TV dinners and cooked 2 of them. One was never enough. Turkey loaf and beef stew, and ate them watching the show about the kids in the 60s. He watched more TV and worked on a model of a '57 Chevy he'd been putting together for 2 weeks. He liked working on models when he couldn't work on engines, because it completely occupied his mind, making them look exact, clean, dead perfect. Then somehow it was night, and his parents still weren't home, and he went to bed. The second morning he awakened to the same routine, but now there was wonder. They should have been home and fighting by this time, and he thought about calling somebody like the police. But something stopped him. A little tickle, a happiness at the quiet and peace was there in his mind, and he didn't make the call, but went out again to mow lawns. That evening they were still not home, and he sat quietly working on the model after 2 more TV dinners, and for the first time he thought of the movie about the kid who was left home by himself, except that the same tickle was there, the feeling that it was actually nice not having them around. The first call came at almost exactly 8 o'clock. His mother called first. "Terry, I'm not coming home. I can't take it any longer. I've taken all my things. Tell your father I won't be there for him to fight any longer."